viento se lleva por donde quiera. Quiero, qué pena haberte perdido, como quien pierde una estrella que se va al infinito. Matando allá, que el viento se lleva por donde quiera. Te quiero, qué pena haberte perdido, como se pierde una estrella que se va al infinito.
Again, we're Mariachi the Brown. We are Brown and Rhode Island's only mariachi band. So obviously we're the best mariachi band in the world. We are a student group. We're all undergrad and graduate students from campus and have found a great home here at the BCSC. They invite us to a lot of events to perform. And we have performed all over Rhode Island and all over Brown. So if you have an event you would like us to perform at, email us at mariachi or brown.mariachi@gmail.com and like us on Facebook. We have one more song for you, and I hope you enjoy. Thank you, Mariachi the Brown. If we can give them one more round of applause. Good evening, everyone. My name is Mary Grace Almandrez. I am the director of the Brown Center for Students of Color. I'm also assistant dean of the college. It is with great honor that I welcome all of you to our renaming celebration and reception. Thank you very much. At this time, to open up our celebration, I would like to ask one of our honored guests, Vice President Margaret Clawoon, Vice President for Campus Life and Student Services, to say a few words of opening. Thank you.
I'm very honored to have the opportunity to speak this afternoon because I see us as doing two very important things. We are celebrating the Third World Center, and we are having a naming ceremony for the Brown Center for Students of Color. And those are both especially important to be recognized side by side in this afternoon's event. When I thought about the 250th for Brown University, I knew that there would be a lot of announcements of important initiatives, some fun events, and some fireworks. What I hadn't reckoned with very much until this afternoon, when I attended the dedication of Martin Puryear's sculpture on the lower green, was that it was also going to be a moment to recognize the complicated historical legacy of Brown University. And one of the phrases that Martin Puryear used when he talked about his sculpture is that his highest purpose in creating the sculpture for Brown University was to bring historic truth to this campus. And I see what we are doing this afternoon as standing in that context and tradition of Brown University, that what we are doing today has its importance and has its roots in the historic truth of this university. When this center came to be in 1976, and many of the alumni out here were involved in that important moment, the center was created and named in recognition of a model of cultural empowerment and liberation, the third way. During the strategic planning process, there was nothing more important to our committee than carrying forward that strong tradition of student activism. We wanted to make sure that the vision and mission for this center held the agency and empowerment of students of color at the core of its work as its motivating impulse. It will take much effort from many of us in the Brown community to make sure that we live up to the legacy of the Third World Center, to its historic truth. When we looked across the country at similar centers at other schools, we were proud to be able to proclaim with no apology that this is the Brown Center for Students of Color. The BCSC has the foundation in its new mission to do its essential work. As we move forward and advance the strong programs of minority peer counselors, the Third World Transition Program, the Heritage Series, and more, we are also excited about the possibilities to expand social justice peer education and faculty engagement. The new name says to this community, and within the context of higher education across the country, that we claim a center at Brown for students of color and for those who stand in solidarity with students of color. This is a powerful statement and a historic truth. At this time, I would like to thank Dr. Andrew Campbell, who co-chaired the Strategic Planning Committee with me. The Student Advisory Board and the Advisory Group, which had many of our alumni on it, the alumni who created and sustained this place, the BCSC staff, and in particular, I would like to recognize Mary Grace Almandrez, who came and joined us at Brown at a moment where this university was ready to do important work, but we needed the right leader, the right process, and the right strategy to get there. And it's a proud moment when we stand here today having completed work that we've been talking about doing for a long time at Brown University. So this is an important moment. Enjoy the celebration, and thank you.
Thank you, Margaret. At this time, I'd like Floripa Alguin to please come up and introduce our native elder. Thank you.
Hinaman gima haramba natatai ham fibasa tsunajini nisle nato bashishin kilajin dashiche nato dashinale. Hello, everyone. It's with great honor that I introduce Judith Sanford Harris. She is a member of the Wampanoag Nation, Mashpee Wampanoag Nation. And, well, for me, it's really an honor to do this, mostly because coming into Brown, I didn't have many Native elders who successfully completed Brown. And so when I had found out about Judith and a lot of the work she does for within her own tribe, she's a recent graduate of the Wampanoag language program and contributes to their tribal council meetings, and is a former member of their Tribal Elders Council. And so I think that for today, for this blessing, I just want everyone to think of the center and how it's moving forward with a good heart as Judith completes her blessing. So, harkem, thank you. Here's
Hello, friends. I did graduate from the language program, but I still have so much to learn. So rather than being fluent, our language is one that has not really been spoken fluently for over a century. I have to read it. Please forgive me, and I may stumble, but please understand the sentiment behind it. Manat. Katapatanaman, wachi yukisakak. Katapatanaman, wachi ahki kisak. Katapatanaman, wachi nitompawanonak. Katapatanaman, wachi yu akamak. Yu moaikamak, wachi katna tontai naniwak. Kakutam wakiai naniwak. Pish kapah patanamataman. Pish Katachusa Toataman, Ananama Anyan, Namanat Wipi Wanikak, Ananama Anyan, Asinat Wipi Sombwak. Oh, and that means Manat, or Creator. We thank you for this day. We thank you for the earth and sky. We thank you for our friends. We thank you for this building, this meeting house for students and teachers. We will trust each other. We will listen to each other. Help us to see only what is good. Help us to do only what is right. Oh.
Thank you, Bits. At this time, I'd like to ask the second director of what was then the Third World Center, Felipe Floresca, to share his keynote address.
So, you know, it's always great to come back to campus. I'm from Washington, D.C. So when I came, I thought there would be leaves falling, but it's like 84 degrees. I don't see the Dell's lemonade. They used to be around here all the time. They had a monopoly on lemonade in the state. But, you know, I'm happy to be here. It's always great to be on campus. I have a real strong affinity to students of color, having been here, having been a director, and trying to continue some of the work that's so important in terms of the globe. We had a really important march on Sunday, the Global Climate March, and it drew 400,000 people. And I actually saw some Brown alums at that, believe it or not. You know, what are the odds of running into Brown alum in a crowd of 400,000 people? But I did. But I just wanted to talk about visualizing, vocalizing, and mobilizing with a couple of comments. So first, I want you to visualize this campus 46 years ago. It's 1968. and the United States is involved in a war in Southeast Asia, and there's urban unrest following the killing of a young African-American male in Watts in LA. And on campus, students are questioning the American role in the Vietnam War and the police response to the shooting in Los Angeles. So we fast forward to today, to 2014, and we see the U.S. engaged in another war in the Middle East, and there's urban unrest following the killing of a young African-American male in Ferguson, Missouri. Although things have changed, things remain the same. As students of color at Brown, there are alums here and other folks, but I'm really addressing the students. You walk in the imprint of the black students that walked out in 1968, and they walked out so I could come to this institution, others can come like yourself. There are people of color that are in the academy as professors, in buildings and grounds, at the Ratty, cooking, throughout the university. And that was because of the students that made a big sacrifice in 1968. It was uncharted territory. When they walked out, they really didn't know what was going to happen. So they made a statement, and we do walk in their footprints. From the ancient Chinese Tao, it is written that good walking leaves no tracks behind, but still leaves a lasting imprint. Whether it's in the snow or on the beach, you can have your foot imprint, but what impact will it make if you relate to life, your life here at Brown, and what happens afterwards as alum, and what you do for society? So for 40 years, the Third World Center has been that path for our walking. Thousands of students have gone through this door and at the other location. And it's only fitting that the center is named after students, the Brown Center for Students of Color. And that bears the name of the legacy of students past, those that are enrolled in the university now, and those that will come after us. So that's the visualization part. Vocalizing. Students of color at Brown have always been vocal, and this center has always been a sounding board for social justice. That's what this university is about, and that's what students of color are about. The issues may be different, but students of color have always vocalized their thoughts, opinions, and beliefs. You represent the social conscience of this university. Your voice is essential, and it makes this university a better place. The center supports your right to advocate and dissent. It has nurtured the position of Brown as an anchor institution for open thought and dialogue. I mean, there are other Ivy League schools, but Brown is known for students speaking their mind, walking the walk after talking the talk. And that's happened through the curriculum that developed, our response to the Vietnam War, our response on an ongoing basis to a number of issues. So outside of lectures, term papers, and reading lists, this openness makes this place very, very unique. All I ask is when you continue to vocalize, I ask that you adopt some of the words of wisdom from author Don Miguel Ruiz. He wrote a book called The Four Agreements. And thousands of years ago, it was the philosophy of the Toltec Indians of Mexico. And these four agreements are a soul searching that you can ask yourself. Always speak with integrity and use the power of word. Become immune to opinions and actions unless these are important to your values. Ask questions and always challenge. The only exception is with your professor when there's a borderline grade. No, I'm only kidding. And always do your best to represent who you are without reservation, because you are who you are as students of color and students that represent this community. And then the last point, mobilize. Race is like a miner's canary because it raises differences about race and ethnicity. And by the virtue of the fact that you're a person of color, you're a miner's canary. In the book, The Miner's Canary, Lanny Grenier and Gerald Torres talked about in the 1900s, miners used to let canaries fly in mines. And that's because canaries have a very astute and delicate respiratory system. They could detect gases. They can detect the environment within a mine. And so whether you like it or not, you're a barometer on race and ethnicity on this campus. And the center has always been the place to mobilize, to walk that path, to promote diversity and crystallize important campus issues, but also what is happening in the Providence community and in the state. Because you're going to go back to the real world in terms of what your path will take you in terms of career, in terms of family, the community you may go back to, or the new community or communities you will adopt. And so you have to be comfortable in your skin, and we all need to mobilize, and everyone mobilizes in their own way. As connectors, you can network with people. As mavens, you're knowledge keepers, and keep that knowledge and pass it on to the other students that come after you as alums. And as persuaders, spread the idea of your importance as people of color, both as students and as alumni, because that's very, very important to the diversity of this institution. You have this center to help you with the path. How you get to that destination will take many turns, and it's individualized based on who you are. Together, you can decide to leave no tracks, but rather leave your imprint on the university and the society. It's just a matter of visioning, vocalizing, and mobilizing. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Felipe. At this time, we will have two brief reflections from current student leaders. The first will be Justice Gaines, followed by Jacinta Lomba. Justice, if you can start.
Hello. I want to thank all of the speakers who have spoke here before me, and Jacinta and everyone who will speak here after me. Almost about 2 years ago, today really, I had what I consider my first interaction with the center. I was a first year engaged in a Facebook argument with the senior about the appropriateness of certain terms. And at that time, I really disliked two terms, people of color and third world. Things have changed. But I left that conversation feeling that the Third World Center was exclusionary and filled with angry people, and I felt alienated from it. So a few of my friends and I decided we are going to change that, and next semester we entered the center through various positions. I wanted to change the center and community thinking I would never be a part of it. And as I got to know the community, I got a deeper understanding and connection to the center and to its history, and I realized that I was getting angrier. And I realized that calling the center exclusive didn't recognize it as the haven for students who couldn't feel welcome other places on this campus. When I refer to the center, I'm thinking of the staff and the programming, and most of all, I'm thinking of the students that are connected to it. Whether they work here, whether they hang out here, whether they nap here, or whether they have nothing to really do with the center, but their work is ingrained in what this center was established to do. And in a lot of ways, a lot of those students are radical. Another term I didn't like but have come to embrace. This center is radical. It is radical in that it exposes the humanity of communities we are taught not to see as human. It tries to teach us to love peoples we are taught we should not love. And it ensures in us that the compassion we feel is acceptable in a society that considers compassion excessive. And because we can now see the humanity of, and feel love and compassion for these communities we have been led to believe were less than, marginalized communities, erased communities, our own communities. Because we have this newfound sight, we become angry at the violence enacted against them, no matter how minuscule or outrageous. We have a saying at the center about doing the work we do and coming from a place of love. Coming from a place of love was something I felt I couldn't do because of all of this anger. And finally, Sydney Peak, who's a senior and a great mentor, showed me that this anger inside was coming from a place of love. Without love for these communities that we want to liberate, a deep and genuine love, we would not be angry. We would not fight. We would not worry ourselves with the horrors of this world. Anger can only be a motivation insofar as it is motivated by love, an unapologetic compassion for peoples we were never supposed to care about. But the center was not and is not perfect. Too often we build up this anger and care so much for so long that we no longer see how we can make a change. That's why the center's plan is so important. Visualize, vocalize, and mobilize. We have to start providing communities at Brown not only with the sight of what's wrong with the systems in place, but the ability and tools to imagine new systems with equity and agency and community. We need to teach students how to communicate those ideas to each other, to their own communities, and to those in power. We need to support students into turning those visions into action and new realities. And that is not an easy task, but it is possible. We see that with the creation of the center as it was built by students. It was fought for by students. And though this is not an easy task, it is necessary. It's necessary so that we don't have to feel angry or lonely or exhausted anymore. It's necessary so that Brown Center for Students of Color is not the only place at Brown for students of color, and so that all of Brown University can be for students of color and communities of color. It is necessary so that we can spread the love and compassion and the recognition of humanity that we have learned here and make it universal within Providence, Brown, this country, and across this planet. It is necessary because this work is necessary. Thank you.
Thank you, Justice. Jacinta, if you can offer our last comments.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the newly named Brown Center for Students of Color. My name is Jacinta Lumba. I'm a current sophomore. This year, I'm an MPC and a co-coordinator for the Black Heritage Series. I love Brown for several reasons, and the space we're all gathered in front of right now is what I love most about this university. Even before I officially began my first year at Brown, I had a significant amount of respect and admiration for this space because for me, it represented my university's commitment to and value for social justice. Last spring, I had the privilege of sitting on the center's strategic planning committee along with other Brown students, faculty, administrators, and alums, all deeply invested in the future of this special place. I felt honored to have a place in the conversation about renaming a center that means so much to me as a student with deep concern for social justice and the uplift of communities of color. I remember the flurry of name suggestions we collected from campus community members who share a love and appreciation for the center's work. The variety of suggestions was overwhelming, an indication of the amount of love and respect the Brown community has for this place. The questions that eventually allowed the Strategic Plan Committee to arrive at the right name were, what is the core of the center's values? Why do we do what we do? Regardless of socio-historic context, the interest of students of color has been the unchanging focal point of the center's work since its founding, and it's only appropriate that the center's name be derived from its core values. There are 3 important verbs in the center's new mission statement that I'd like to address now: visualize, vocalize, mobilize. Visualize. For our purposes, to visualize means the ability to construct a new direction and purpose in the mind's eye.
This also involves the importance of preserving history and legacy, and to allow it to shape and guide the vision that future generations will have for the center. Students who utilize this space must visualize a direction for the BCSC that honors the history and legacy of student of color activism, which allowed it to exist at Brown nearly 4 decades ago. Vocalize. This verb speaks to the theoretical underpinnings of the work we do in the center. Critical theory, academic knowledge, and understanding is what allows students to articulate and name complex systems of inequality that work against communities of color, thus allowing us to mobilize. This center is a physical space for students of color and their allies to organize around critical issues and to take informed action. Whether it's through planning MPC workshops to create awareness and dialogue about classism, or organizing a demonstration to bring attention to the issues of race, students at Brown will mobilize, honoring our legacy of activism and using the tools that move culture. This space invites students to hold our entire community up to the standards of equality and human dignity that we are all entitled to, and to construct the groundwork for meaningful social change. If there is any confusion about who the center serves, the new name clears it all up. This space serves students of color, and we are unapologetic about that. For me, this center promises a future in which people of color can be leaders on issues that impact our own communities. A society where we can imagine ourselves rather than having to resist society's image of us. A world where I can be my true, authentic self and feel legitimate. The Brown Center for Students of Color has a rich history of doing the work that will eventually carry us to this point, and I'm so grateful for its presence. To the faculty, staff, alums, administrators, and students who have and will continue to care for this space, thank you. I believe in the center, and I believe in our collective power to improve Brown as well as the larger world around us. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. If we can give one more round of applause to all of our speakers. So at this time, I would like Mariachi de Brown to come join us as we unveil our new banner, and I would like to ask Felipe to also come join me. After we unveil the banner, we invite all of you, our esteemed alum, our students, our faculty and staff supporters, to please join us as we break bread in the new center.
ojos de papel volando, negrita de mis pesares, ojos de papel volando, a todos diles que sí, pero no les digas cuándo, así me dijiste a mí, por eso vivo penando. la quiero ver aquí con su rebozo de seda. Que